Hello. Hi. Hello. Welcome to Magic with Melly. What's that? So, it's lunchtime for me. I stopped by El Pollo Loco. And they did me right this time. They got me the red sauce, the pico, and the green sauce. This one is superior to the other ones that I've been to recently. Just for the fact that they got me on the napkins and they got me on the sauce. Because the last few times they missed me on that. You may be finding synchronicity with something coming up that you thought that you had been over, if that makes sense. I try so hard to minimize the way I react or respond to things. And just because it's still there doesn't mean you're not working on it. Just because you had a struggle one day, like that version of you is always going to be there. It's just having versions of you come out when it's healthy or appropriate. Your little kid self was still developing. So some of you really learned what anger is. Some of you really learned what violence is. And as a kid, handling that, controlling that, it's just, some of you didn't have the advisory or the guidance that you deserved. And now that you're parenting yourself or even healing things with your parents, some of you are finding the perfectly imperfectness of your experiences. I have a lot of fire in my energy, so I used to just burn everything to the ground, metaphorically, when I was having trouble. And that kind of, it bit me in the ass one day. And now here I am, fixing in placements that I need fixing. So you can't just, if a part of you is broken, you don't have to break everything else just because that one part of you is broken. Some of you struggle in this area where you see one place in your life failing and then you give up in more places than just the one. I got chips, that's what I'm eating right now. And I got a burrito and pink lemonade. Oh, and I got blessed with coupons to try other things. I was just thinking while I was in the drive-thru line, I should try more things than just the tacos and the burrito. So now I have a chance to try the double chicken chopped salad, the 3-piece chicken meal, a shredded chicken nacho, double chicken tostada salad, chicken avocado burrito, an 8-piece chicken set, an 8-piece chicken set as well, like as a family feast, and a 16-piece chicken set as a family piece too. So I have options. Today's beautiful because when you bless those around you, you will be blessed by the universe. Like, for example, there's a beautiful yogini, and she's a painter, and navigating her journey as a painter, like as she's navigating her journey with her art. And I couldn't help but overhear, because yoga hadn't started yet, I couldn't help but overhear a place where we can meet, I suppose. Like, what I mean by that is, if you've been following me for a few years now, you'll know that I did dibble dabble in painting. I was trying to figure out, is this my thing? And I went like 500 on it. And then I realized it wasn't my thing. And then suddenly I had all this overstock from buying the supplies, buying paint, buying brushes, buying canvas. Now the paint and the paint brushes are used, you know, I will probably still use them, but I don't need the millions of canvas, empty canvas that I have. It's just been sitting there at this point. She's doing me a favor by receiving them. And I'm giving her a blessing by just seeing her heart space and supporting in the way that I knew how at the time. Homegirl, I don't know if she has a social media for her art yet. I pray that she gets there if she wants that. But the conversation was just like, oh, you should do prints, oh, you should this. And I just told her, oh, I have overstock because I thought painting was my thing. But if it's your thing and you know it, I'd love to just give you my extra supplies, like really, like. And she even asked me if I wanted money for it. I'm like, no money for that, you know. Because money is something you can barter with, something you can exchange with. It's like the easiest way of exchanging. When you don't know what to give someone, you give them money. But when you do know what to give somebody, give them that. Give them something from the heart space. And literally she wanted to give me money. And I said, no, it's fulfilling my heart space to give you these. She shared with me that she has a she shed. She has the time and space. Anyway, then I go to lunch and I'm blessed with coupons to have more El Pollo Loco. Money should not be the first thing you think to exchange. Your life shouldn't be about increasing the amount of money you have. That your life should be about increasing the amount of love you have. The money will come naturally as a means to take care of you and those around you. Someone's been staying in their own lane, and then you're seeing other people reveal themselves. The experience I'm drawing in on is from this morning. I was in a 2-lane turning area where both lanes were turning. I was in the outer turning lane and they were in the inner turning lane. And there was this landscaping truck in front of me. I chose to be behind this landscaping truck. I knew they were gonna turn slower. I knew they were going to be slow, and the left lane was going to be quicker. That's just the norm on the road. The left lane is normally quicker, at least here in the United States. And I stayed in my lane, turning, and the truck in front of me slowed down, and so I was slowing down as well. And my window was down, mind you. My window was down. That's an important detail, because when your windows are up, you can't hear things outside of the car as easily, especially with music and things. But my music was down, my window was down. And I stayed in my lane. I had no intentions of switching lanes. I didn't even have my light on to switch lanes. Like, there was nothing wrong about my turn either. Like, I didn't turn into their lane by accident. Like, they were in their lane, I was in my lane, and I was gonna stay in my lane because I knew the situation I put myself in. I decided not to be in that lane and decided to be behind a slow truck. So I'm a safe driver. I'm the type of driver that will like leave space open for people who need to get out of driveways, like, and not clog up that area by being an asshole. I'm that person that lets people, like, more than one car in front of me because I see the car behind me being an asshole, not letting anybody in. Like, I'm that person. I am a very generous driver for the most part, unless you're clearly in the wrong. I have another story from earlier this week to talk about too, but in this case scenario, this car assumed that I was going to just switch into the lane mid-lane, like mid-turn, when I didn't. It's like they honked at me. Their honking startled me, and they're honking for something that I wasn't even doing wrong. Like, made my driving dangerous for like a split second, because their honk startled me, and I like shook a little bit where I wasn't gonna be in their lane. Their honk potentially startled me, but I didn't, right? I stayed behind this truck, and I was given a little bit of grace because the truck moves a little bit further up and then decides to turn into whatever complex they're gonna do work in. So I slow down, and that car was way ahead, and I'm like, no, there needs to be accountability for that. Like, I did not move into their lane. I did not do anything to their driving, to their experience, but they essentially harassed me for doing nothing. Like, they just assumed I was gonna move into their lane when I wasn't. Like, my light wasn't even on, and I stayed in my lane. And so Spirit kind of gave me time to think about what I want to do, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna hold accountability. So I rushed up to them and I flashed them the middle finger. I'm like, no, fuck you for honking at me for no reason, literally. And then energetically I felt them feel like shit because they didn't stay near my car. They drove really slow and way far back, and I don't know anything about their life, but they ended up making a turn, and I'm like, okay, I let it go. And some of you staying in your lane is really revealing to you other people who don't stay in their lane. Like, his assumption, or the driver, him or her, there was a girl in the passenger, but I didn't get to see who the driver was because the passenger is the one who made eye contact with me. They were like staring me down like I was gonna do something, and I'm like, I didn't do anything to you. Me flipping them off ended up me doing something to them, but I'm like holding accountability for the fact that I'm defending myself. Like, God's gonna be on your side when you defend your true self, true and rightful self. So rightfully, I didn't do anything wrong, so I'm going to defend that. But that person probably switches lanes in the middle of a turn when the car in front of them is going hella slow, or they're really used to other people doing that, so they just like they placed it on someone who doesn't do that. Does that make sense? And it's like people are going to be outing themselves when you stay in your own lane. They have no choice but to get out of their lane to try and see what you I don't know, something like that. It's like when you know at the heart of things that you did not lie, you did not cheat, you did not do anything wrong, and then someone's, quote, trying to call you out on something, quote, they're calling themselves out. Especially with, like, the more details you have, like, you have your details, I'm just speaking generally. But it's like someone who's like saying, oh, this is what you're doing when this is happening, and you're like, that's not what I was doing. Then it's like in the same situation, that's what they would be doing. Someone who's like, oh, I know she's talking hella shit. And it's like, no, you know you're talking hella shit, and you're projecting on someone who maybe they do, maybe they don't, but you recognize on others what is happening inside of you. Whether you want to see it that way or not. Don't let your ego be too loud. In the other case scenario with the driving, I was in, there's an area on the back roads that I drive. It's a 2-laner, but then the 2-laner on the right side lane eventually becomes like you have to merge into the 1 lane because it's going to be the exit to the highway, one of the highways. So it forces the 2nd lane to merge for the highway. And then you drive down a little bit more and it's the single lane, and then it opens up another lane for the highway going the other way. After that, it's just a single lane. Okay, so it's like 2 lanes, 2 lanes, 2 lanes, and then a forced merge. And then, yeah, your highway ramp. So you either have to go on the highway ramp or you merge. And then once you're past that, it's a single lane, and then it opens up a 2nd lane just for the highway ramp. So some people know that area very well, and they're sneaky. Okay, the solid lines means don't cross. Means you're in this lane, you got to stay in it. Like, you got to commit to your decision. So actually this morning, there was a truck that tried to bypass some cars in that lane, but then probably nobody let them in. So then they ended up being stopped with their turn signal on, having to wait for all the other cars to pass, because it's like, if you don't get, someone's an opportunist or some sort of, they cheat their ways to the front of the line or whatever. It's like you can only get away with that so many times before spirit or God or whatever puts you in your fucking place and you have to sit in it. So I watched that truck sit there, full stop with their turn signal on, waiting for the long line of cars that were behind me. I'm like, he made this decision before I even like saw what happened, but I know what he did. Like, I know what it was. It was an asshole who probably did that one too many times, and they needed to sit with themselves in that humility, in that embarrassment. And probably the cars behind them that actually needed to go on the highway were honking at him like, I need to get on the highway. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Get on the highway. You know, like, it was just, it's uncomfortable to carry yourself like that and then get away with it and then have it catch up with you. That was a scenario this morning, but there was a scenario last time where I'm on the right side of the road and there's somebody who's trying to pass me, getting into that lane where it's like you're forced to merge in or you get on the freeway. And he's trying to use that freeway lane to pass me. My nose, like half my car or more, was already in front of, like side by side. My car was further ahead and he was trying to zoom around me using that lane. And I'm like, no, bro, like, I closed the space between me and the car in front of me, because if he sped up enough, he would have been able to just do it. But I'm like, no, you're in the wrong. Like, I'm not going to give you the space. I normally give people the space, but if he's in the wrong, he's in the wrong. And so from the get, I'm like seeing him trying to speed up, like get his nose in front of my nose, and I start honking. And then he goes, fine, go then. And I'm like, yeah. Like, if he tried to squeeze in, like, it'd be his fault for what he was doing. And like, safe driving is not just don't get in an accident, it's show people their lessons. Because if we got in an accident, like if his car collided into mine, it'd be his fault. Then he can pay for my car damages and all that shit. I'd still be safe, I think, but it would stop him from doing shit like that in the future. That makes sense? Like, the more you let people just do things and get away with it, the more dangerous the world gets. So if I just let him get into the lane he's not supposed to be in and then switch lanes into mine, if I just let him do that, like, that doesn't serve anybody. Like, if you wanted to be in this lane, you should have gotten in that lane when it was your time to get in the lane, not try and be in front of everybody. Boundaries. People who call you a bitch for having boundaries, they're the bitches. People who give you a hard time for being sure of yourself are unsure of themselves. Because I'm like thinking, I know this person's probably thinking I'm a bitch for not letting them in, but they did not deserve being let in. So they could think I'm a bitch all they want, but they're really the bitches. And I'm just holding the boundary of this is how you drive safely. If a line says do not cross, do not cross. The solid white lines means you're in this lane and you cannot cross to the other side of the lane. The dotted lines means you can cross as you need to, safely. My chips are gone and a good portion of my green sauce is gone. But I saved the red sauce for the burrito. Oh my gosh, look at the sticker. It says special on it. Oh my gosh, the burrito sees me. I love that. I think I want to keep the sticker. I'm gonna put it on my dash for a short period of time, or on my door. Yeah, we'll put it on my door. Special. That's cute. Strawberries are significant for somebody. I'm wearing strawberry colors or watermelon colors. You really like that flavor of candy or things, or you could just recently got yourself some good fruits. It doesn't have to be those fruits, but strawberry vibe, or that Watermelon Sugar High, that song could be significant for you. Thank you for being my food. Ooh. Oh, but yeah, staying in your lane or holding accountability is really gonna have people revealing themselves. You don't have to do anything. But be yourself. Even staying in your own lane will have you noticing what you did or didn't do wrong. Because this morning I almost had an argument with one of my parents, and I realized I thought she was wrong, but I could be wrong too. Like, more than one person could be wrong in the argument. Someone could be completely right and standing up for themselves. So don't cave and say sorry when you know you're right. But when you're wrong, make sure you admit that you were wrong. So I did. I go like, sorry about this morning. Like, I don't know what happened with the energy, but I let it go, you know. I realized it was my old energy coming up, the old way I used to react. And it's like happening less and less. And that's fine. Like, give yourself grace for that. And when you say sorry, what you're saying sorry for is that you're sorry that something happened the way it did. So when you say sorry, you mean that in your efforts, you're going to try not to have the same scenario happen again. Because you wish that it didn't happen that way. So it's like, in the future, it can't happen that way. Because if you see the same things repeat, that person's manipulating you with the word sorry. Some people say sorry and they don't mean it. Some people say sorry and don't even know what they're saying sorry for. Don't just accept a sorry with nothing else. You need sorry, you need acknowledgement, and you need changed behavior. Some responses and reactions are unconscious. Like, when they ponder on it, they're like, I don't know why I reacted that way. an unconscious thing is maybe trauma, and you're blocked from even acknowledging that something was traumatic or something like that. Like a lot of my younger 20s, I'm still in my 20s, but my younger 20s and my teenage years, I would always like beat myself up, like, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did that. Like, why am I the way I am? There were traumatizing experiences that I told myself not to remember. Like, I had blocked memories. I literally did not remember, because that's like, for some, that was the only thing you can do, is just forget for the time being. But your soul doesn't forget. Your ego just suppressed it, put it in a box for later or something, and when it comes up, that's when it's time to sort of face it. Some of you aren't facing yourself or facing something from your past. Like, the past should be left in the past, yes, but the past is still, it's like a part, it's still always a part of you. It's just, you can work with it in healthy ways or healthier ways. Old energy comes up, so you can let it go. So you can do better than you did last time. Even if you're still struggling, or like there's versions of you that like that you don't want to exist anymore. Give yourself grace that, like, if you recognize that you did better than last time and you still have a lot of work ahead of you, that's still okay. Like, at least you're doing better than you were last time. Nobody knows like you how bad it was before. I'm not saying I condone anger or violence by any means, but some of you know how violent you once got. Because someone pushed you out of character, or anger issues, or whatever it is. Okay, you know how you went. You know, you know that edge that you went to. You know how much you've backed off from that point in time. How much you've changed since that point in time. There is healthy amounts of violence. Like a return to sender type of energy, where if there is violence sent towards you, you just return it to them. But you don't have to do it with your own human body. But Spirit also tests you on like how much of this is in your character, how much of this is like, would you express? In that situation where that person's honk startled me, I didn't honk back, because the honking, it alerts other people. Like, what are, you know, like, who's honking? Why? And even if you have your windows down, like, that can, like, I was scared. I'm not gonna scare somebody and make them drive off the road because a sudden honk happened. Like, I personally, if I was gonna change lanes, they were in my blind spot. So I get like, oh, they want to be like, oh, I'm here, but I'm like, I wasn't moving. Like, you scared me, and that's worse than just, I don't know. So my expression of anger wasn't the same action. It was something else. I rolled, my window was already down. I stuck my arm out and like made it clear I was flipping them off. No horns, because the horns could be triggering for other people who don't expect it, or they think it was them. I knew exactly who it was, so I'm gonna send it to him. If you have a true and good heart, defending yourself is never going to be a punishment. But if you're defending a shitty ego, you're going to get punishment. Like, if you were cheating or didn't give full disclosure or this or that, like you manipulated someone and then they outed your manipulation, and you're defending yourself like, oh no, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that, and you make someone out to be like exactly what you are, and you're like, no, they're the liar, they're the cheater, they're the whatever, you're gonna get karma for that, because you're placing on someone who doesn't deserve it, someone who's just being honest. Like, defending a bad ego, like, is gonna worsen your situations in the material world. I'm hearing some of you are telepathic. Like, you hear people's thoughts. My burrito's done. So telepathy is hard to detect because your thoughts feel like your own thoughts. When there's somebody else's thoughts, you have other people's thoughts in addition to your own thoughts. You can literally share ideas with people, or someone was like, I was thinking that too, or I was about to say that. Telepathy. They think that shit doesn't exist, but it does. I'm here validating you. It's like a lot of people are like, you don't know what you're thinking, or you don't know what I was thinking. It's like, oh, but I do. You're just hiding that you had those types of thoughts. Like, someone who has bad intentions, they're not gonna want you to be validated that you're telepathic, because then that would be them admitting that they had a thought that wasn't right. Oh boy, people hate being wrong, and a lot of people have been wrong about me. By just me being disabled, there's so many people who meet me and they doubt that I do yoga. They doubt that my yoga practice is as strong as it is. And then, like, there's new yoginis in my yoga studio regularly. People who are in and out, people who try it and don't come back, people who try it and it stays, like whatever it is. There's new people rolling in and out all the time. So when they meet me, they already have this preconceived idea. Who does she think she is? She's disabled. Yoga's gonna be hard for her, blah, blah, blah. Like, well, I don't know. They're thinking some type of way. People hate to be wrong, right? So it's like, when I prove people wrong by just breathing in yoga, they hate themselves. So then they further look for a reason to validate what they thought about me. Sometimes yoga is hard to show up in, but I show up for myself. My yoga practice is for me and not for proving other people wrong or right. But in my savasana today, it was really all about, like, the reason why I've received so much hate is because people hate to be wrong, and people have been wrong about me since the get. These people are ableists. These people maybe compare themselves to me. All sorts of weird energy. But it's not my problem, it's theirs. It's not your problem, it's theirs. And you can hold space for them to catch up. Figure out their problem. Don't try and show them what their problem is. They'll get to it when they're ready. I'm hearing some of you, I was pondering this the other day, like, if your life path is, for example, if your life path has to do with music and dance, what are you doing bullshitting trying to get like amazing grades in math? Like of course pass your classes in high school and college. Like literally the phrase is C's get degrees. I mean, I think they mean that for lower division courses that are general ed, and even high school, middle school, like, as long as you pass, you're good. What a beautiful magpie. There's a magpie bird, so if you're unfamiliar with magpies, they have a blue tail. Blue birds, or blue, or birds could be significant. Bud Light, someone drinks beer. Or your nickname could be Bud or something. Or someone sees the light in you, or sees that you're blossoming or blooming into the person you're meant to be. But it's like don't put too much emphasis on things that don't matter. Like, if you really, really care about dance or music, then you don't really have much room for math to fill up your space and your heart space, you know? But someone, if you insist that you think you're supposed to be an accountant, you think that you're supposed to be in statistics or something like that, okay, math, you need to take math seriously, but not everyone needs to take math seriously in the same way. In the realm of learning English, that's really fucking important. We need to be able to communicate properly. Okay, English, the common tongue. Though I'm not saying English is superior to other languages. I think being multilingual is a very beautiful thing. You understand and know more than anyone who speaks only one language ever could. Some of you are bilingual or trilingual or more. I love that for collective. Or you want to be. The app Duolingo could help you in that regard. Learning more languages for free, for advertisements, being exposed to advertisements. Or you could pay the premium price to have no ads and unlimited time. Because you are limited. It's like where you have like 5 lives, and once you've exhausted all of your attempts, there is like, you have to wait an hour or a few hours for everything to reset. But if you want to go at a rapid pace, it could be worth your investment. Someone is seeing you as worth the investment. Whether they have showed you that or not, I'm hearing it's coming in. You just got to keep doing you, keep staying in your lane, holding accountability, defending yourself, being true to the heart. Someone's foregoing the heart space for finances, but then it, like, doing that is further fucking up your finances. Like, your finances will naturally align when your heart is in the right space. It's risky to free fall into love. It feels risky, but Source has a safety net that you don't see underneath you. It's like a tightrope walk, but there's a safety net that's invisible. And so if you just like let yourself fall, like, you will be caught. Your mistakes will be caught and then released. I don't know, like, this, my metaphors are getting silly. Painting. I'm seeing a truck that has painting. Okay. I may not choose painting as a profession, but it's still a part of me. I just have too much stock for, like, I thought it was gonna be a profession or something that I was gonna do. But it's just, for me, it's more like something I want to do with somebody else. And so I really didn't need like 20 canvases. But some of you are painters and need to buy like 50 canvases and let yourself just sit in your work. Literally, you can get yourself a she shed or like a little studio office or something. Like a separate space to do the work in that is dedicated to just that. Me, my office space is healing, and not so, because right now there's music stuff in there, there's painting stuff in there, there's coloring books in there, there's books in there, there's all sorts of shit in there. And it's because that was my, like, I was on discovery mode. Is this what I'm gonna do? 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 And when I figured out, okay, that's not what I'm gonna do, like, it's something it's still a part of me, but it's not as much a part of me as I thought. So some of you need to let go of like excess things, excess energy. Doesn't mean it's not a part of you. It just means maybe there's too much. Could be too much anger, could be too much canvases, could be too much whatever it is. I'm hearing let your freak flag fly. You could take that however you want to take that. But Shrek the Musical could be something you watch or you need to return to. Musical, someone's in theater. Acting, someone wants to pursue acting or something. Maybe a lot of people are telling you like you wouldn't result to anything, or like it's not really going to go anywhere. That's because they're speaking from their path, they're speaking from their projections. Acting is not for them, so it wouldn't go anywhere for them. But if acting is for you, you're going to be taken places. But you have to let yourself be in the places you belong. So, say some of you believe those around you and go, you're never going to go anywhere or whatever. But then like maybe hearing this message or hearing some other messages, and you give yourself a chance and you go to the local theater, you're going to be recognized for who you are in the places you belong. So like if someone in the collective knows they belong in a theater but haven't been letting themselves in the theater, it's like when you let yourself step foot in a theater, some people are going to be recognizing you. But it's going to be also followed by people who are envious or jealous of you. Potential's an interesting thing, because people try and stop potential before it meets its max. Your name could be Max. You could have had a target on your back just for being naturally good at what you do, and they just want to call it beginner's luck. If it's a gift, if it's a soul calling, it is what it is. They're jealous it wasn't given to them. It's because they're meant to be somewhere else and they don't want you to take their place. They wish they started out as strong as you did, or recognized as easy as you are, whatever it is. You will be recognized in the places you belong. I belong at the yoga studio that I attend, and I feel it reaffirmed and validated time and time and time and time and time again. When you have the right people around you, it's going to be effortless. If you feel like you're trying too hard, just know it doesn't have to be that hard. Specifically, trying too hard to fit in, you probably don't fit in where you're going, where you're at. And you're meant to change those around you and know when your work is done somewhere, because not everyone appreciates and receives change. So if you've done all that you can in an area, move on. The drug 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Someone's getting rid of junk. Someone's getting rid of old energy, or like literally I have a basketball. Basketball's just fine. I even got a pump to because the basketball's fine. It just deflated a little bit because it's at this point 3 years old. But I got a pump, like a ball pump, so I can re-pump it up. But I literally got rid of it because my ex touched it. I can get another basketball, and some kid can enjoy the basketball for cheap at Goodwill. I hope someone's family buys it for their son or daughter for cheap. It was a good basketball. Literally nothing wrong with it except for it deflated a little bit. I got a pump because I was going to pump it up, but I'm like, oh, my ex touched it. So, I don't want my future lover to play basketball with me, shoot hoops with me, and get like triggered by my ex energetically. I don't want there to be a story that came up because the basketball is still in my space. Like that's how energy sensitive things can get. Is if your ex touched something, your ex is still with that thing in memory, in energy. Someone's literally getting rid of junk, like stuff that used to be of value to you. It's literally junk now, and you can replace it with something better. You can replace it with a different version of it. And my lunch is over, so I'm gonna leave you here. I hope my readings help you wherever or whenever you're at. Remember, these are timeless, so whenever these reach you is when it applies to you. Remember that you are magic, and I appreciate you for showing up and sharing your magic with me. If you need personal time with me, you can book me on Etsy. You can look me up, MagicWithMelly, or there's links in the description and in the bios. You can also DM with deposit for a meditation for energy healing using stone medicine / crystals. So with all that being said, I leave you here and have a blessed day. Carpe diem.